All right, we are back on the Young Turks. Well, you know, Ted Nugent was acting like a real big tough guy at the NRA convention over the weekend. You remember him saying this.
If you don't know that our government is wiping its ass with the Constitution, you're living under a rock someplace. Because I'll tell you this right now, if Barack Obama becomes the president in November again, I will either be dead or in jail by this time next year.
All right, well, the guy's an obvious lunatic, but besides that, you know, it's all this bravado about how tough he is. Earlier, he had been on stage, not in this event, but in another event, saying that Obama can suck on his machine gun. There's talk of beheadings. In fact, let's watch that.
Our president and attorney general, our vice president, Hillary Clinton, they're criminals. We are patriots. We are Braveheart. We need to ride into that battlefield and chop their heads off in November. Any questions?
Yeah, a ton of questions, including how you can live with yourself, given what an unbelievable coward you are, and how obviously you're overcompensating. Now, why do I say that? Well, in an interview with the Detroit Free Press in 1990, when asked about Vietnam, he said, if I would have gone over there, I'd have been killed, or I'd have killed. I'd kill all the hippies and the foxholes. I would have killed everybody. But of course, he didn't kill anybody because he ran for the hills. He wasn't even close to going to Vietnam. It's not like he couldn't. He could have. In fact, he actively avoided it. But that's not the most interesting part of the story. It's how he did it. He explained to the Detroit Free Press in that same interview that for a month, all he did was avoid personal hygiene, so he would stink to high heaven. He started eating junk food and drinking Pepsi, but we're not at the worst part yet. And then he stopped using the bathroom altogether. He started going in his pants. And that there was a cake of urine and excrement in his pants when he showed up to the draft board. And the draft board dismissed him because he was such a filthy coward. He literally crapped his pants when he had a chance to go to war. And then he talks like, oh, I'd have done this and I'd have done that. You wouldn't have done anything, you coward. Yes, I've said it a number of times because I literally have never heard of a story where someone is this afraid, this scared, this hypocritical. This is the weakest man in America. That's why he overcomes this. Oh, I'd behead, I'd shoot, I'd do. No, you wouldn't. You'd run and cry to mommy and poop in your pants. That's what you would do, Ted Nugent. What a loser. But he's not the only one. When you look at all of these Republicans, you know who never gets talked about when you talk about Vietnam? Mitt Romney. And maybe people think he looks young, but he was of age. He could have gone to Vietnam, and he didn't. You want to know why? This is beautiful. He got a deferment to go to France. He said that he was going to be a minister of religion for a year, which of course means just doing a Mormon mission. Where did he go? Gay Paris. What's going on, Mitt? You talk of a tough guy about, oh my God, I'm going to go into Iran and Obama's not tough enough and et cetera, et cetera. 3-year deferment for academic reasons, 1 year to go to France. Go to France. Can you imagine if Obama went to France to get out of a war? Okay? But that's what Mitt Romney did. Nobody talks about it. But that's not all. All of these Republican warmongers are huge hypocrites. And they're all scared. None of them went. Look at Dick Cheney next. Okay, no, let's go to Newt Gingrich next. Yeah, what did he do? He got deferments from 1961 to 1971, education. Then he said, I got 2 daughters, which allows you to move back in the line. And he told the Wall Street Journal in 1985, part of the question I had to ask myself was, what difference I would have made? Oh, great. So let other people die because your fat ass wouldn't have made a difference. These people are unbearable, and the people that drive us to war more than anyone else. And when it was their time, ran for the hills. Not even close to done. Let's go to Rush Limbaugh. He initially got an educational deferment, but he was a loser and dropped out of school. So he had to get a 1Y classification. What is that? Well, that means that you qualify for military service, but you're only available in times of national emergency. And why is that? Because he had a pailondo, I'm sure I'm saying that wrong, cyst, because I've never heard of it. So basically what this is a cyst on his butt. And I'm sorry to gross you out here, okay? But he literally had basically a tail. And it was a cyst that grew out with mucus and hair, et cetera, in there. And he went in there and basically said, I'm a mutant. I'm a freak of life. Please don't send me to Vietnam. I can't sit for long periods of time. And then he sat for his entire career. That's what he does. He sits for a living. God, they're so scared. They're so weak. They're so pathetic. And that's why they talk like big guys when it comes to sending your kids to war. But we're not done yet. Now we go to Dick Cheney. Now, Dick Cheney in 1965 was available immediately for military service. Did he go? Of course not. In January 1966, he said he was deferred from military service because service would cause hardship upon his family. Oh, really? Because the other guys who went and died in Vietnam, that didn't cause any hardship for their family. And then finally, his daughter was born conveniently, right, as that made a difference. And then here's my favorite part. In 1989, when asked, he told the Washington Post, I had other priorities in the 60s than military service. Oh, did you? Whereas the kids who died in that jungles of Vietnam, oh, they didn't have other priorities. Their priority was to die in that jungle that people like you sent them to. These people are despicable, but I'm not done yet because we're about to get to possibly the best, although you can't beat Ted Nugent for cowardice. It's Tom DeLay. Why didn't Tom DeLay go? By the way, you know what? Dick Cheney did not get one deferment. He got 5 deferments. Tom DeLay also, 1960 to 1970. Well, in 1988, outside of the Republican National Convention in New Orleans, he told the Houston Press why he couldn't go, and the Houston Press describes it this way. So many minority youths and had volunteered for the well-paying military positions to escape poverty and the ghetto that there was literally no room for patriotic folks like himself. He didn't go because the minorities took his spot. They took his spot to go die for their country. This bastard not only runs, but then blames blacks and Latinos for going to die in his place. Like he couldn't volunteer, he could have easily volunteered. An enormous liar, and as always with these Republican warmongers, an enormous coward. Have I made myself clear enough? The next time you see these guys talking about war, know how literally full of crap they are. All right, now when we come back, we're going to talk about the damage that they did to the Gulf, and unfortunately, we now have literally mutant species of fish there that we're going to tell you about.
I can't think of a worse animal to knock out of the food chain than a killifish. They've got lower heart rate, they've got lower hatching success, and their hearts aren't forming properly.